When the bus comes in Portland, not everyone can get on it.
If they travel on the bus with the local community, there could be some sort of integration.
What in the Rosa Parks is this, honestly?
Because a lot of people are confused of why they're here, and maybe a little chat on the bus, because that's where people do talk. Because I meet people on the bus every day and you ended up chatting. Wouldn't this be a great way to integrate? But no, they're separated. And how can the local community move forward if they're always kept in isolation from us?
So let me get this straight. The local community in Portland, which, if you're not aware, is where the Bibby Stockholm, the infamous Bibby Stockholm barge is, they're in Portland. They have separate buses for the general public and for the migrants. And it gets worse. Just keep on listening.
Some, there are echoes of segregation, and it's leading to resentment. Resentment at the special buses, resentment at the healthcare the Bibby residents receive, resentment at the wet weather gear for hiking that Dorset Council provides. 6 months on from the arrival of the first residents on the Bibby Stockholm, the feeling in the local community is just as strong, just as divided, and just as passionate as it always has been. And while a community that didn't ask for this argues and accuses, the sheer cost of the Bibby Stockholm sticks in their throat. £34.8 million.
34.8 million quid on a bloody barge. What? How does it cost that much money?
If you break that down into figures, that works out at capacity at about £4,500 per month.
4,500. Think about how nice of a gaff I could afford with £4,500 a month. £4,500. What the hell?
Ahead. And I mean, if you do a little bit of investigation, you can rent a really plush house in Sandbanks for that money, or an apartment in Chelsea each. Or, you know, you may as well just send them on a Caribbean cruise for a month, all inclusive, because that's what £4,500 a month will get you for your money.
Quite literally. I mean, what are they spending this money on? Are they spending it on caviar or something? Although, to be honest, that figure probably comes from the immense legal costs of having to deal with all these migrants coming up with bogus claims, with lefty lawyers backing them, claiming that they're scared of water so they can't go on the barge. This is the kind of stuff we waste money on legal fees on.
They were sold the idea the barge was cheaper on the taxpayer's pocket than asylum hotels. But in an investigation by the National Audit Office into the Home Office's asylum policy, it was revealed not only is this more expensive than hotels, at the time of commissioning the barge, the Home Office had not even estimated costs. They were flying blind.
I'm shocked, really. I mean, the Home Office blatantly lied. They told us that the Bibby Stockholm was to offer value for the taxpayer for housing asylum seekers. And we now know from the National Audit Office document that was released at the end of March that it's not just a little bit more expensive, it's exorbitantly more expensive. It's obscene, the cost, the money that is being thrown at this barge.
How can the government get away with that? How can the government get away with not even estimating the costs of a policy before you go ahead with it? I mean, what are all of those civil servants doing that are meant to come up with predictions and do costs and stuff? I mean, clearly they're not doing anything because they are protesting the idea of coming into the office for only 2 days a week. But that is something for another day.
In a statement, the Home Office told GB News, "We have always been clear that the use of asylum hotels is unacceptable, and that's why we acted swiftly to reduce the impact on local communities by moving asylum seekers onto barges and former military sites. While the National Audit Office's figures include set-up costs, it is currently better value for money for the taxpayer to continue with these sites than to use hotels."
Really? Because I'm sure if I go on the Premier Inn website, I can find somewhere where I can stay for less than £4,500 a month. You talk about set-up costs. Of course there are set-up costs, but do you really think that the Bibby Stockholm is going to last long enough for you to spread out those fixed costs to something smaller than the cost of the hotel rooms? No, I doubt it. Absolutely horrendous, honestly. This is really, really horrifying. The government, they claim they don't have enough money. to do things like, well, the list goes on. Where do I even start? Police the streets, give us a working healthcare system, give us enough school places for our kids, build some bloody homes. I mean, I could go on for hours listing things that the government just doesn't seem to have enough money for, yet they can just, literally, excuse my French, but just piss away money on this absolute BS. People who shouldn't even be in the country in the first place are being given princess treatment. If anyone wants to give me $4,500 a month, happily, I'll take it. This is absolutely crazy, and people act like we treat these people like dirt, and they call it a floating prison. I doubt that if it costs $4,500 a month. In fact, if you look at the website of the people that supply this barge, as well as a bunch of other barges, they do this for loads and loads of companies that are doing work away and need somewhere for their workers to stay. Those people aren't complaining, but the migrants are complaining, saying that they've got a fear of water. But anyway, I could complain about this all day, so I won't drone on any longer. I'm Chloe Dobbs. If you like this video, make sure you like the video and you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you very, very soon.